So I rigged my college's internet, and before you call the university, let me explain. So for those of you who do not know, I am in college. I obviously am in my dorm room right now, and I have a huge interest for networking, technology, all that kind of stuff. I have a huge home lab, data center, co-located rack, all the stuff. But unfortunately, one thing I don't have is any servers or anything at school. So I'm living about 2.5 hours from home, 3 hours-ish, and I don't have any servers with me here at school. So with that being said, I was like, well, I should probably make something small. So I have a small little setup here, and let me show you this setup. You know, super typical, very small. I just have a little flex switch. I have a adapter for Ethernet to my Mac. There is an Ethernet port on the wall, so I am plugged into Ethernet. But unfortunately, there's one big catch here that I have left out. And this is pretty standard from a lot of colleges that I've seen. They actually have 802.1x authentication on the Ethernet ports. So just like the wireless network where you sign in with your LDAP credentials or whatever they have, their single sign-on, just like the Wi-Fi networks, you actually have to sign on to the Ethernet through the same way. So they profile it to your user, etc., all that stuff. Unfortunately, what this means is you cannot have network switches. And the whole reason they have all of this 802.1x stuff is that way you can't share your internet connection or have your own router or that kind of thing, because typically those kinds of things do not support that. And part of the whole standard with the 802.1x, especially on an Apple device like a Mac, is you cannot share your connection because that's kind of not permitted within the rules of this form of authentication. So with that being said, I do have this Flex Mini switch. So you may be wondering, how do I have this switch working? How am I able to use a switch? Well, there's this really cool device that you guys probably have seen, and it's called a Raspberry Pi. I have got probably 20 of them at home, but I brought a Raspberry Pi 5 with me, and I have an Ethernet adapter on it as well. So I have 2 network ports, and a WAN and a LAN port, of course, means that I built a router. But how in the world am I sharing the internet connection when that's not allowed? Well, let me take you on a quick little tour of how the internet works. The internet is full of routers, of course, but it's also full of a lot of networking IP tables. So these IP tables are kind of a key component in how devices connect into the networks and internet and stuff that exist. But with IP tables and with NAT rules specifically, I was able to make my own router based on this Raspberry Pi. This is my network configuration file. There's nothing to hide here except for obviously my password, but this is what it looks like on the Pi. So essentially the Pi is connected to Ethernet. It's getting a DHCP IP address. It's doing authentication through PEAP and 802.1x. And there is phase 2 auth as well. But anyways, that all is for the 802.1x connection. And then we also have our Ethernet. So this is my local network. And there's no DHCP because I'm actually running my own DHCP server. But this is that other interface right there. So essentially, this is all we need to get the interfaces configured. The best part about all of this is how it is literally all like 3 IP tables rules. So I not only installed IP tables persistent, which is a way to save these rules, but I ran these 3 commands to kind of create a NAT or a local network. I've created the NAT with the WLAN interface, with the Ethernet interface, and with the BR1 interface. So you could think of those as my WAN interfaces, and essentially that's setting the WAN interfaces for the Pi. But then with the bridges and stuff, I'm able to use those routes and whatever. I'm able to use those on a local network that the Pi is creating. And I installed the ISC DHCP server on the Pi, so my Mac is now getting an IP address from the Pi. So as you'll see, this is my private network, and we are using a private router. We are not using the router from the school. Now the upstream from all of this is still the school, that has not changed, but my local network is entirely through this Pi. You may be wondering at this point 2 different questions, and I have these 2 answers. First of all, why is this not allowed? Well, this prevents, by students having their own routers, there is a lot of issues that may come with that. Students may do malicious things. They may overpower, the access points in the building, causing Wi-Fi problems. They might do, VPN routing, so they bypass the school's filters. Plenty of things that students can do if they had their own routers. But in this case, this is less of a router in my opinion and more of kind of a switch, but I have my own local VLAN. So in that sense, why do I have this? What is the purpose of that? That's the second question. Well, I'm able to do a lot of really cool things. So first of all, I have my own private DHCP range. So if I connect a laptop or if I connect another Pi or something, I can see the IP address on my own. Additionally, I don't have to sign in on that device to the school's network. It's automatically logged into my network. Additionally, third on top of that, I'm able to do some really cool routing with this. So since the Pi is basically a router, I can do a lot of cool things on the Pi. Like I can set IP routes, I can do OSPF routing, super cool stuff. So I can route certain IP prefixes through certain VPN tunnels. I can do all kinds of crazy wild things like that that you may have not guessed. And that's actually what I'm doing. If you guys have seen the UNAS2 video, that Pi is actually using OSPF routing as well. So it's dynamically routing certain IP prefixes I have on my WireGuard networks. It's routing them through different locations. What I'm able to do here is when I plug in through Ethernet on my port here at my desk, I'm able to connect to VPN IPs. I'm able to basically be logged into my VPN without having to enable the VPN on my Mac or whatever device I plug in. So it's basically instantly authenticated. As soon as I plug it in, it's so much easier for me. Oh no, what if the school finds this? Oh no, it's a big deal. It's not. And let me explain. This is causing zero harm. There's nothing bad that's going on here. This is perfectly valid stuff. This is a project that I learned how to use IP tables with. The Pi is doing some basic routing. There's no firewall on anything. It's not like I'm blocking any traffic from anywhere. The only thing that it's doing is hiding the devices that are connected to my network, but it's not really a big deal either. There's so many devices on the university's network that they probably don't care about the 2 or so devices that are not there. Honestly, it probably creates a worse internet connection for me because it is double natted, because there's going to be the NAT from my router and the NAT from the other router. But at the same time, I'm still getting full gigabit speeds, so that's really cool. Theoretically as well, I'm not condoning this, but I could actually plug in other Pis or other servers or something on these ports and actually run some services here. With the power of my VPN networks, I'm actually able to tunnel services in and host things on a secure network and use the internet to connect to that. You may see what I'm saying. I could host web servers, I could host all kinds of stuff here, but I could also do that on the university's network and it would be the same thing. So it's not a big deal that it's on my own router. I just wanted to throw that example out there. And there it is, all the way down there under my bed. The Pi is sitting down there, causing no harm, no foul. I also have an SSD connected to my Pi, so I have my own little NAS here as well. And I'm also able to run backups to my S3 storage, which is really cool as well. I don't know, what do you guys think about this project? Is it interesting? Do you have more questions than answers? If you do, leave them in the comments below. I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. But that is about all I have for this video, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.